What to expect in your first 7 days of retention. Now, I have gone through the first 7 days of retention more times than I can even, calculate, right? And it's typically the same, except for the very first time. So if this is your first 7 days, a lot of these things could be a lot more intense, right? Especially depending on the sort of habits that you have had before. But if you are going through your first 7 days, especially if this is your first time, join my free WhatsApp community where we'll be sharing motivational videos almost every day. I send out a little morning video so that, if you are feeling a little bit low, you feel like giving up, you just have that support, as it's very needed to have a community where you know that you're on the same wave. But let's get into it. The first 7 days of your retention journey and what to expect. To be honest, your first 7 days, expect a lot of frustration, a lot of emotions, a lot of things coming to the surface. It's really going to expose how you really feel about yourself, about life, about work, about your relationships, because you're no longer going to be covering this up with all of these high spikes in the nervous system. So that's something I would say is one of the number one things to expect. Another thing to expect in your first 7 days is going to be high levels of motivation towards any goals that you have. If you haven't got any goals, this is going to be really hard to deal with. I'll be honest, and I would say if you are in your first 7 days, write out some goals for yourself. If you don't have any high goals when it comes to like business and other things like that, just start a workout practice, and with goals, try not to have them outcome focused. What I mean is, don't try to say something like, I want to, I don't know, make £100, right? Say, I want to do the inputs that will make the £100. Why this is important, especially on your retention journey, is that you're going to start receiving a lot of like focus, right? And a lot of drive towards these particular goals. But if you don't have a clear path, right, to get and achieve these goals, it can really create frustration in the body and anxiety as well, because again, you're not going to be covering these things up, so a lot of this anxiety may come to the surface. Whereas if you have input goals, so I am going to write a post every day, I'm going to call 100 people every day for my business, or I'm going to do this amount of push-ups, squats, etc., the anxiety will be quelled because you're no longer focusing on an outcome but an input. So you have that clear goal of, all right, I'm going to start doing those 100 push-ups, and if you do those 100 push-ups, your body will then get that dopamine. And that's really important, especially when you are starting out, to have clear goals. Another thing that will come up in your first 7 days may actually be things that you wanted that you could have been lying to yourself about. Let me explain what I mean by that. There could have been things that you was using, right, corn and all of these bad habits to suppress, right, things that you could have wanted from when you started this journey, right? And depending, it could be, some people have been watching porn every day from they've been a teen. No judgment. You just have to check where you are. But you could have suppressed these things, and so your mind now is going to start thinking towards these things, right? You will start having deeper dreams. You will start sleeping less as well. There's going to be a lot of energy in the system because now the body is going to start seeking, right, more healthier ways to achieve the same thing. Another thing to expect is bad habits could start coming to the surface. Now, this may not be that strong in your first 7 days, but what I have noticed is that if someone starts this journey, right, and they haven't found a clear route right, to channel this energy, they may just start to suppress it with other things. So it could be, for example, you're no longer watching the corn, but then all of a sudden you're now smoking more, you're drinking more, you're partying more, and other things like this. Because rather than facing the emotions that are coming up, you're still covering it up. You're just not covering it up with corn and masturbation. So these are some of the things that I've noticed will definitely come up in the first 7 days. Now, if you channel this correctly, right, when you're really facing the emotions that are coming up, you're accepting them, you're not allowing them to sway you too much, but you're at least feeling them. For example, this will definitely lead to you having a lot more motivation, purpose, and drive. These are the sort of things that you can expect in your first 7 days. You also could see that you will start having a lot more like energy. Certain things could start like clearing up. So if you've got like bags under your eyes, things like that, a lot of like skin stuff for me as well just started to like clear up. I've always had good skin, so I can't say that this was like major changes for me, but people noticed it as well. Like people start looking at you, right? You will be more attractive. People will start seeing the depth in your energy, right? And this is only the beginning, right? But in your first 7 days, this is high, especially your female attraction, right? Because you're still at that stage where, you know, the sexual thoughts are still in your system, right? And it could be quite rife, especially if you've habitually been doing it. But now your energy is increasing. So you're starting to attract more opportunities, right, to mate, which is what the body wants to do. So yeah, this is just a quick breakdown of what you can expect in your first 7 days of retention, right? Now, remember, the first 7 days is where you more likely get the most bang for your buck. After that, right, your testosterone will peak after 7 days, and then it will start to level out, right? So remember, a lot of the benefits that you see in your first 7 days, right, like really, like, I want to do hard stuff, etc. You're gonna then have to take away the motivation, which will come in your first 7 days, and replace that with discipline, because the motivation will leave you and the discipline will stay. And this will help you to really change your life and develop the powers, the superpowers, right, that you have in your system. It's going to be based on your discipline, not just not ejaculating and not watching porn. That is not enough. It's the discipline that you put in by channeling this energy that will put you in a position of continually growing and becoming a better version of yourself. But last but not least, guys, as you all have heard before, if you've watched my videos, remember, you're perfect by design. Never give up, never give in. Remember, we are in this life to win. Peace out.